this film discussion video will be somewhat different from the other film discussion videos I've made, in that there's nobody with me, because these two films, I don't know anyone that's watched them, even though I think people should watch them because they are good. And also, I won't be getting into spoilers. I will be remaining spoiler free for both films. So the first film I'm going to discuss is We Go On by Jesse Holland and Andy Mitten, which is a horror with more thriller, like A Sixth Sense, but it still does have those horror elements. And it's streaming now on Shudder, which is a streaming service like Netflix, but it's for horror. The second film is Where Demons Dwell, The Girl in the Cornfields 2 by Ryan Calloway. This film is streaming now on Amazon Prime Instant Video.
I'd like to offer $30,000 to the first person that can show me definitive proof of life after death. I know that most people are going to be fooled.
I could talk to dead people.
I get possessed by this Nazi soldier.
But in this whole city, maybe I find one who can prove it to me, just to know for sure. It would change everything.
You actually think you're going to find something? You do, don't you?
We've got definite fakes, pranks, solicitors, crazy nonsense, and 12 people who want to be my personal psychedelic drug guide.
I'll start with We Go On, because in my opinion that was a better film. These films are quite different, so it is somewhat unfair to compare their quality, but I preferred We Go On. So We Go On is a very, very good film that came out very recently. It did get shown at festivals, but the public release was 2 days ago. And I really enjoyed it. If we're counting it as a 2017 release, which I am, then it was my favourite film released this year that I've seen so far. And that's quite surprising to say, because I had not heard of it until the day that I watched it. I didn't know this film was coming out. I just signed up for Shudder again, because I've signed up before, and I saw it was there, so I watched it, and I do not regret that decision because it was really good.
Dr. Ben Ellison says he's got a technique that will guarantee a supernatural encounter.
You put these on, please. Fear, like a child feels. That is the doorway, and that's what you've got to get back to.
What is this? Is he in line for a roller coaster?
Sort of.
The film focuses on Miles, played by Clark Freeman, who does a good job. He is somewhat monotone, I've seen other reviews say, but it fits the character. With the character's personality, I think he played it really well, as good as anyone could have. And I haven't seen much else with him. I think people should hire him because he did a good job. And for the rest of the actors, they were all good. There were maybe 1 or 2 weak moments, but on the whole, everyone did a good job. And the directors as well. The directing and cinematography of the film, at the start, it wasn't too interesting, as well as the writing, because I wasn't attached to the characters yet at the start. But once the characters are introduced and the film gets rolling, probably about 20 to 30 minutes in, that's when it gets really good. So it is unfortunate that the opening isn't that compelling, but it's definitely worth it, because once it gets going, it's a really good film. There were really good scenes, like there's a scene in a school which has some really good directing, sort of edge of your seat type moments where you want to know what's going to happen, and that was directed well, as was most of the rest of the film. And the strongest part of this film is the plot and writing, which was done by the two directors. And I would say writing is their strong point, because all the dialogue felt completely natural and the plot was incredibly engaging. I loved seeing where the film would go next, because there were a surprising number of twists. Some of them were twists, some of them were just shocking moments, and I think that's where the film succeeded. It had not as many jump scares as you get in certain films coming out recently, and it still is good. It has more shocking moments, just like, oh, that's a surprise, rather than a quick jump and then no payoff. I think that was a very brilliant decision by the writers and directors, and I hope to see more films do that. It's a shame that all films aren't made like that, but they aren't. And overall, it was a really, really good film. I didn't have that much expectations, but it was really good, and it's my favourite film of the year. So I would recommend definitely giving it a watch. You can watch it now on Shudder.
You're starting to believe me.
I believe you.
The second film I'm going to discuss is a sequel. It came out last month, and it is Where Demons Dwell, The Girl in the Cornfield 2, which is a sequel to The Girl in the Cornfield, which came out last year. This film was directed by Ryan Calloway, who I see incredible potential in. The overall film, it wasn't amazing. It did have a considerable number of flaws, but I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the potential that the director Ryan has, and I would love to see him get proper backing with a good budget. If I was a producer, if there are any producers watching, I would recommend taking note. Ryan Calloway, he did a great job with directing this. There are so many low budget films that don't have great directing, but this one, the directing, at points I forgot that it was a low budget film, and it was just well made, which unfortunately I can't say about a lot of low budget films because they have low budget. But still, Ryan, I believe from the quality of the product, I believe he gave it his all, and it was good to watch. The first Girl in the Cornfield, I felt a similar way. I saw potential in it, but I didn't really enjoy it that much, whereas this was an enjoyable experience, and I can see the potential in Ryan.
Our windows are opening on their own. Things are in places that I know I didn't put them, and my sisters are starting to see things.
Should we go get Addie?
The acting in this film was acceptable. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. I guess probably better actors or more training for the actors could have helped the film, but it was still watchable, and that is one of the elements I'd like to see Ryan get in future films, either better actors or the same actors trained better. And another thing budget would hopefully help with in the future is effects. There were some effects that weren't that convincing, and of course it's understandable, it's a low budget film, and I just wish that he could get studio backing, because then that could help him out with the budget. And also, one thing, I don't think the writing was perfect. I think he probably, I don't know any of the production behind this film, but I'm assuming he had total creative control, and that's usually what I like. I think maybe someone overseeing it, just tweaking little bits, would help. Just, obviously, I don't want studio interference ruining the film. I just want little bits change that didn't feel that great to me. But overall, it was still an enjoyable experience. I'm glad I watched it. I was happy with the result, but I'm not sure I'd recommend it to everyone. If you are a film lover, then I would say watch it. But if you're not, then you probably won't be as pleased with it as a film lover would. But for We Go On, I would recommend that to anyone, because it is a really well made film. Just make sure that the first few minutes don't turn you off, because they are not a fair representation of the entire film. So remember, We Go On, definitely check it out. Where Demons Dwell a Girl in the Cornfield 2, maybe give it a chance. If you liked what you saw from the trailers, give it a watch.